Welcome to The Author's Journey with #1 international best-selling author and in-demand publisher, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. Today, we'll showcase the works of an amazing best-selling author, find out the story behind their book, and explore ways to bring your message powerfully forward. Now, here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. We are honored to be connecting in with you on the author's journey, where we take deeper conversations. We take a deeper look at what it's really like to bring your book forward, to launch it, to have it become a bestseller, and what happens in all of that. So what is it like? What does it take to bring a book forward, to have it received as a bestseller, and even what happens and can happen after that, and what does it really take? We have candid conversations with dynamic, powerful experts, best-selling authors who pull back the curtain and really share with us what the journey's like. And our intention with that is we want to support you in a very real way on the journey, so that as you are looking to bring your book forward, you're looking to bring your message forward in all the different ways that you're hoping that book, that connection will provide. We want to bring you real information, real stories, real experience of what that journey is like, so you can learn from the experts, so that your journey is powerful. It's easier. You can apply some of those best practices and tips on your journey, so that you're able to bring your message forward, have all the impact that you are called to have. And I'm just thrilled and honored to have amazing authors who lean in to share their wisdom, tips, and insights with us. Today, we are talking with two amazing authors who co-authored a book called The Confident Patient, and they released this in 2019. We are doing this show here in 2021, so it's been on the journey for a little while, and I'm just honored to be able to talk with them about what it was like, what they learned, and since launch, what has that been like, and what have they discovered and learned and are bringing forward. And so I'm really looking forward to the conversation. I hope you as a listener are as well, and I want you to get the most out of our time together today. So to do that, I want to encourage you to take a breath. We are moving so quickly. So often, we forget to pause and breathe really deeply. So take another beautiful breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Wonderful. This time is for you. This is a time for you to be still and get to receive and be poured into, to allow room for expansion and growth and those aha moments. In fact, to get the most out of our time together today, I encourage you to sit down, be fully present. Actually have a piece of paper or notepad ready to capture that thought, that insight, that aha moment, and write it down. It's so easy to have that brilliant moment, that brilliant thought, and then we get distracted and we forget it. So take a moment as those come in today and write them down. Be open to receive all that is here for you to support you on your journey. And choose to be fully present. Choose to be open, that you're excited about the new thought or idea of perspective that can support you on your journey. And you're open to hearing it, to receiving it, and to taking this time just for you. So often we are pouring into others and we are always in motion. So I encourage you to slow down, breathe in, enjoy this time together. Honored to have you spending this moment and space and time with us. I know you're going to enjoy both of our amazing guests and all they have to offer. So let's take another breath. Wonderful. Have your notepads ready. And I'm excited to introduce our beautiful co-authors of this powerful book to you. Wendy, Benson, and Elizabeth Myers are leaders of 2x2 Health, a private health concierge company. They are co-authors of the #1 international best-selling book and award-winning book, The Confident Patient, They are in-demand speakers and have been part of multiple books, multiple projects, and bringing them forward in such powerful ways. Beth is the CEO of 2x2 Health and a registered nurse, and has been recognized by Crain's as one of the top women in healthcare in Chicago. Wendy is the COO and has extensive experience as a healthcare executive and occupational therapist. Both want to empower you to have a plan for your healthcare needs so you can move forward powerfully and confidently. So thrilled and excited to have us lean in and welcome both of our amazing guests to the show. Welcome!
Thank you so much, Rebecca. We're thrilled to be here.
You're welcome. I'm excited to have both of you joining us today. And I'd like to just take a moment, and I'd love to hear your answer to this question, both of you. And Beth, I'm going to start with you. I'd love for you to share why it became important to you to bring the confident patient forward. And what is the confident patient, and why was it important to bring it forward?
Sure. So before we wrote the book, I launched 2x2 Health. And after seeing patients and families frustrated, not knowing where to turn or how to navigate the complicated healthcare system, the creation of the company was born out of desire to help patients actively partner with their medical team to navigate the system as quickly and efficiently as possible. So the purpose of the book was we wanted people to feel empowered to ask the right questions and to create the most effective support network for themselves and their families. We wanted readers to feel that they have control over their healthcare journey by incorporating the resources, tools, and insights included in our book.
Powerful, beautiful. And I love that it came from that same desire. And here's another way to walk beside them and support people. And I'd love, Wendy, anything that you would like to add to that about why this became an important project? It became important to bring it forward in a book format.
Thank you, Rebecca. You know, Beth as a nurse, myself as an occupational therapist, and working in all different roles in healthcare throughout the past decades, we just really noticed some common themes. We noticed that people were nervous to ask questions. We noticed that people didn't feel comfortable with the language of healthcare. And so even though we help people do that on a very personal level here in Chicago, we wanted to share that information more broadly. We wanted to be able to expand the lessons that we had learned and that people could access this information from anywhere. So we wrote The Confident Patient, really focusing on people, you know, in a very accessible way, coaching people in a very informal way on how they can interact with their healthcare professionals, tips to ask, real life stories, things that they can use immediately without being right beside us physically.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And I'm curious, because it's one thing to have this brilliant idea and desire to want to help to make it more accessible, to reach more people and bring this information forward. It's very different to move it into action and create and bring it forward. I was thinking the same thing with launching 2x2 Health. It's one thing when it's in this idea stage. It's very different to make it happen and to bring it forward. So I'm curious if, Wendy, I'll start with you. Wendy, what helped it become a reality?
You know, I think it's a big part of our jobs in healthcare is education. And even though each individual person and their family has their own unique situation, because we started hearing some of the same questions, because we started hearing some of the same concerns over and over, we were educating people on similar things. And so we thought, what an opportunity to be able to educate a much broader audience on some of these things. Education from the medical professionals on why it's important to get a second opinion, examples of questions to ask, ways to ask for more information that doesn't feel threatening. So many of these things were ideas and then concepts that kept coming up again and again that we thought it would be just such a helpful opportunity for us to share that in The Confident Patient.
I love that, and that you were willing to bring it into reality and really create the book in the format and the way that it can reach more people. And I'm curious, Beth, as you launched 2x2 Health and brought that forward into reality, and then you were part of launching and bringing the confident patient forward into reality. Did you find there were any similarities in that journey? Were there surprises?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, a lot of surprises, but all good. And, when I started the company, people said, start it, but make sure you're flexible. And if the company starts going a different direction, really lean in and see if it makes sense to go that direction. And I'm glad I did. When, we started the company, it was to take people to the doctors and ask questions. But then when we realized people really needed someone in their house as a companion to help them through this process after maybe a hospitalization or a surgery, that was not what the business was intended to do, but we were flexible and we went to what people wanted. Writing the book, I would never have thought, 6 years ago when I started the company that we would have a book. It was not my brilliant idea. It was really Wendy's, and we found a writing coach, and that really kept us on track and really made a difference to make this come true. It was an area that I had no idea about, but I'm really happy that we did it, and it has just been amazing to see it come to fruition.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And I love that you leaned in and got expert support to help you on that journey, and that learning to be flexible and observing some of what Wendy was sharing with those questions, observing and feeling into that. And can we serve and go in that direction too? And that openness to do that has just served so many people around the world and brought so much of this needed information forward. So I just celebrate that. We are getting ready to go to our first commercial break. And as we do that, listeners, I want you to think about what are some of those things that perhaps keep coming up, that you keep sharing, keep answering the same questions. Those are really great things to capture and to start to put into a book. That's great content to bring forward that people are really looking for help with. And do you want support on the journey? If this is your first book that you're looking to bring forward, what a brilliant idea to bring support along the way. So just feel into those things during this commercial break. And when we come back, we'll be continuing our conversation.
Explore the poetry of Sam Yao. His book of poems, Soul's Journey, is a #1 international bestseller. Sam is a contemporary poet with a unique and highly relatable poetic style to convey the essence of spiritual truths for our time. Readers will find beauty, inspiration, and healing in his words. Get his book, Soul's Journey, today on Amazon.com or visit samyaupoetry.com. That's Sam, Y-A-U, poetry.com.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
The Internet's #1 talk station. #1 talk station. VoiceAmerica.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those moments, those 2 minutes just for you to really stop and think about what Wendy and Beth have been sharing, and perhaps some of those nuggets of wisdom and insight that you can start to bring into your life and into your journey as you're moving forward. And I was just reflecting on what Beth had shared about, launching the company, bringing it forward, having that plan, doing that, but being flexible and open and listening to where you're seeing questions, where you're seeing interest, where you're seeing things going, and really being willing to dig into that and be open to that. I think is just such brilliant advice for life in general, for business, and for your book and the information that you're wanting to bring forward. So having that plan, taking steps, but being flexible, being open, discover what's coming forth. Be curious. Pay attention to where things are being led. And I think it's amazing what can be created from that space. So I love that. And remember, you don't have to do this all on your own. I celebrate that you're listening to the show today, that you are bringing this into your support along the way, but also know that you can bring experts and people who are further along in the journey, more experienced in the journey, to help you. And one of the brilliant things about that is that then you can focus on your area of genius, knowing you've got that structure, you've got that support. You don't have to figure out all of the mechanics and all of the pieces that need to be in the book. You can focus on bringing it forward and trust experts to come alongside you. So I just love that they did that and they leaned into getting that support. And I just always encourage people to be open to that, to explore and see if that would be supportive of them as well. Well, I'm excited to continue our conversation with our powerful experts today. And we talked about why they leaned into bringing this book forward, some of what it took, some of what helped them go from idea to reality, leaning into surprises along the way. And I was curious about that because you mentioned, I heard you both kind of affirm and yes, and I heard a laugh about yes, there were surprises. So I'm curious about that. And Wendy, I'd love to start with you. Was there something that surprised you on the journey that you just never saw being part of it, that you got to be flexible around or lean into or navigate?
Not knowing much about book writing or publishing or anything like that, I felt like I needed to learn a whole new vocabulary. I felt like I needed support like other people need our support when they're facing an uncertain healthcare challenge. It was intimidating at the beginning. Beth and I knew that we had important information to share. We knew that it would be meaningful, both for the people that read it and, as we continue on our work. But it was intimidating. And I think that Rebecca, mentioning earlier that there are experts who can support you. I was happily surprised that that was the case, because if we had to do it on our own, it would have taken much more time and it wouldn't have been presented so beautifully. So I feel that it takes a community, right? And to be able to have the support of others who are experts in this area, like yourself, it was just incredibly motivating, and it felt empowering to be able to bring our information forward in a way that was professional, in a way that, was presented in the way that we wanted to present it in. So I was happily surprised, because if it weren't for that, it still might be in the works, or it might not be as well done as it is.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love that it was like a new vocabulary to learn, and that could be a little bit daunting or intimidating, and how helpful that was to get support in learning the new language to navigate. So I love that. And that made a difference too, that having support along the way helped you move the information forward, feel good about it, have it be an empowering experience, and have it presented in the way that we're really wanting and hoping it would be presented. And Beth, I'd love to hear from you. Is there a surprise that kind of, as you're reflecting back, because I know it's been a little bit of time since the book was launched and released, as you're reflecting back on that journey, was there a surprise along the way there that kind of sticks in your mind?
One of our chapters was we asked the healthcare professionals on things that they would like us to share. And we thought it would be harder to get people to answer our emails and to meet with us. But we were pleasantly surprised that so many healthcare professionals wanted to join in on this and educate people. And they all felt the same way that we did, that people are kind of lost and we want to empower them. We want them to feel good when they go, mentally feel good when they go to the doctors and get a good game plan and ask thoughtful and meaningful questions. So it was great to see so many people get involved. We thought that would be the hardest chapter to write, but we just had so much information, it probably could be a whole other book on its own. Although Wendy probably is not ready for that yet.
I love that. And that must have felt really great, too, to have that common heartbeat and that common desire. Yeah. Yeah, and that was something that when I built the company, I never wanted people, a lot of people will say patient advocacy, but I don't like to use that word, especially in front of physicians or other clinicians, because they feel that they're the patient advocate, and why would they need me there? So I've always been, Wendy and I have both been, we believe in traditional healthcare, we believe in the system. There's just some, little kinks that do not help with communication. So, it was something that I thought about with the company, and then we brought the same thoughts with the book, and we just wanted everyone to know that we're all on the same playing field, we're all on the same team. We just want to educate our patients. Beautiful. And support them to navigate with confidence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, love that. And being mindful of that's how the physicians and the nurses feel, that they are advocating for the patient. And sometimes the patient doesn't always feel that or understand that. So it's great to help bring everybody together on the same team in those times where they do need to be advocated for or ask questions or get second opinions, how to do that and really feel confident in it. I found that really powerful in your book, the questions, the things to ask, the things that experts wished those in their care would ask or know and be prepared for. So just really, really, really powerful book. And I'm curious, as you reflect back and you think on the journey of creating it, you decided to launch it as a bestseller. So I'm curious if either of you would like to share why that was a decision that you leaned into, not to just publish it, but to, not that it's ever just, but that you decided to take it to that level where you were increasing the visibility, you were committed to doing the campaign and all that goes into that. So I'd love to know a little bit about why that was important to you. So either one of you who would like to answer that.
This is Wendy. I think that when Beth and I would talk and explain what 2x2 Health does, every single interaction would be people saying like, oh, this is happening with my family member, or this is happening with somebody in my community. We knew that this was information that was universal, that people would want to know whether they lived in Chicago, Illinois, San Francisco, or a small town outside of Erie, Pennsylvania. This is information that people want to know. So for us, we really wanted to be sure that it was as widely spread as possible. We wanted to make sure that if people were interested, sometimes people don't even know they need this until they see that it exists. So to have a list of questions to ask, to have tips and strategies. We wanted to be sure that this was as widely distributed as possible. And so that was important for us to be able to have that best-selling status. And it also it turned out to be even more of a platform. More and more people were interested in it because of that.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love that. And some of why you leaned into it, that commitment to bringing awareness and opening up the conversation is so important. So as you just mentioned that became a platform, I would love to know, as we look back on the journey, so it became a #1 international best-selling book in 11 categories, #1 in 6 of them. You hit best-selling status in 2 different countries, U.S. and Canada. So it was reached international, #1 international best-selling status, became award-winning as well. You recently received an award as well for the book. I'd love to know, one, what that felt like. And then two, how have you been able to leverage this so it continues to have impact, it continues to build into all the things that you're doing? And Beth, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it has just been amazing. I mean, I would never, ever have thought that this would have been such a success. So I was pleasantly surprised. It makes us feel amazing that what we do is important. And just like we didn't know there were writing coaches out there when we started this process, we're hoping that we educate people and know that there's people out there that can help coordinate care and help you feel good when you go, and just really spreading the word further than, the Chicagoland area where our corporate office is located. So it has just been amazing. I'm again pleasantly surprised. And now, we're moving forward. Of course, in our book, it talked about going to the doctors and make sure you always bring someone with you to the doctor. Well, when COVID hit, that our whole book was kind of, talking about that. So we really had to pivot and figure out where, what patients needed. And so we started a new series called The Confident Patient in a New World, which is a video series that we launched, reaching out to other healthcare professionals to help bring information to patients and families on a more current basis.
I love that. I love that you're adding that to the mix of things you're bringing forward. And so helping people navigate in new ways as how we're able to go to the doctors and the processes and those kinds of things, how we're able to now do those things, and that you're providing updated current information built on some of those core principles and content that you shared, but helping people really navigate in a new way. That's exciting. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, that was not my idea, and I was kind of like, "What?" But again, we leaned in, and I think it's been a huge success.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, Wendy, I'd love for you to share some of what it has felt like to be on this journey as time has gone on, and then this all of what we have faced with the pandemic, how that's impacted the health field and impacted your book and the content and information and some of that pivoting that you've done. I'd love for your thoughts on that as well.
Thank you, Rebecca. Regarding your question about, how it feels to have been received in such a positive way, it has truly just been an honor and a privilege to be, available for people in a different way has just been deeply meaningful. What we do already gives us purpose, and it was something that was just humbling. It was just a pure joy to be a part of something like this. When we think about where healthcare has, dramatically changed over the last year with COVID-19, things are changing so rapidly on an hourly, daily, weekly basis that knowing that the information in the Confident Patient is still very applicable, but knowing that it takes a little while to write and publish a book, we wanted to use, as you mentioned, the core principles in the Confident Patient, but add to that, supplement that with medical experts in real time. So that's what we've done with the video series, The Confident Patient in a Real World, is we reference the book every single session, and really we just say, all right, these 3 bullet points are still important, and now we're adding a 4th because things have changed in our landscape.
I love that you're doing that and you're weaving together this, updated in the current landscape in the healthcare field and navigating it. These are the important things to know, but reinforcing the core principles that are there. I love how you're weaving them together. So powerful. And to me, it's like you're creating a multimedia live experience for people so they can have the book, and you have it in a variety of formats. I know Audible and print as well as Kindle, and now this video series series that gets added to the mix is just so powerful. How can people lean in and get on the list or be able to access your video series, and where can they find your books?
So our books are available on Amazon. Also, our website is 2x2health.com. It's the number 2 and X, the number 2, health.com. You can also get our books there. And then our video series is both on YouTube under 2x2 Health, and it's also on Facebook on our company page 2x2 Health.
Beautiful. I'm excited that you're bringing all of those formats forward, all of those different ways to help empower people as they're navigating the systems that we're navigating today. And the changing, you're right, it's changing so quickly that I love that you're creating this way on a live, ongoing basis to give updates to really support people as they are asking questions and trying to navigate the new waters that we're in. So I love that you're doing that. Do you have a tip as you're just reflecting back on the journey, a tip, a piece of advice for listeners today to, one, help them continue the momentum of their book? Because I know this has led to all kinds of speaking opportunities, all kinds of things you've been able to create and build from this. So I'd love for you to share a piece of advice and tip for on the journey to help bring the book forward. And two, how do you keep the momentum going? So if you could share on both of those. And let's start with you, Wendy. I'd love your thoughts on that.
There's this quote by Helen Keller. It's 2 sentences, and I just love it. Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Mm-hmm. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. And that just speaks to me, having the optimism that can lead to achievement and really focusing on hope and confidence and how much it can bring to all of our lives.
Beautiful. So important. And so having optimism and stepping forward, is there a thought or a tip for someone that's on the journey, they're still in the creation of the book, for them to be encouraged or to support them on their journey?
I say just go for it. Each of us has a really important message to share with the world. Mm-hmm. You never know whose life you're going to change by bringing forward your perspective. Asking questions, being curious, having a genuine interest, investing in relationships going forward. The knowledge that you share can be really meaningful for other people. So, yes. Again, I say go for it.
Go for it. I love it. I love it. And then any thoughts of, after the book has been released and launched and there can be this there's this initial excitement and buzz and this natural sharing out, and then it can get a little bit quiet. So any tips on after the launch and a suggestion idea, something for our listeners to consider once the book's released, of something they can do to keep that momentum going?
I think one of the examples that we talked about a little bit earlier is the video series that we've done, The Confident Patient in a New World. But there are also just lots of other opportunities that this can lead to. For example, we've been highlighted in different magazines, blogs. I think that once you've kind of decided that this is something that you're really interested in and that you're going to invest in yourself in, others will see that value as well. And I think just always being open to different kinds of experiences has been really helpful for us. And I think it will be for your listeners as well.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. So much and being open, because I think sometimes we have a vision of this is how we think it's going to go, and we can miss opportunity sometimes because we're looking at this path this way versus being open to discover what can come. So I love that reminder. And then Beth, I'd love your thoughts on that. So a piece of advice for those who are mid-book or thinking about bringing a book forward, and then a thought or advice you have about after the launch.
Yeah, I'm not as eloquent as Wendy, but kind of say the same thing. Go for it. It's important, and when we have patients say to us, I couldn't have gone through this without you, or you saved my marriage, or, all of those little comments, they really, ring home and really just make you feel amazing. It really makes you feel, you're considered more of an expert in an area. So maybe if someone is between, you and another company, maybe they'll see that you're published and, you have a little bit more oomph behind you in your company. And then Wendy and I have been on, TV segments and radio shows and podcasts and video series, and that's something that I never would have thought that we would be doing. But, I thank Wendy all the time and just say thank you for pushing me to this and making me be a bigger and a better person for it, and taking me outside of my comfort zone. I have really grown as a person and an individual by this process, and I'm so happy that I went with her on this idea.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. We are getting ready to go to our next commercial break. As we do that, listeners, I want you to think about all that Wendy and Beth have shared and really see what's speaking to your heart and to your mind. When we come back, I'll make sure they share all their contact information so you can go deeper, and we will be continuing our conversation in just a moment.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Streaming live, the leader in Internet talk radio, voiceamerica.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes and that you had time to process some of the powerful and amazing information that Beth and Wendy have shared with us, and that some of it has opened up some additional ideas and thoughts for you as you're thinking about bringing your message forward, and the impact and that reminder of your voice is needed, your message is needed. And we underestimate the impact that we can have. And it's so important that we're willing to bring our information forward, because no one can share it just like you, in your voice, your perspective, what you have experienced. And it can make such a powerful and profound difference in the lives that have that opportunity to read your book, to hear from you, to know you exist, to know that this is an area they can get support in, to be empowered in it. And that willingness to bring your message forward, that willingness to stand in that place for others by sharing your wisdom and insight makes a huge, huge difference. So I want to encourage you to take steps today to bring your message, your information closer. And as we continue our conversation, I really want to encourage you to write down 1 to 3 things that you're going to take steps on, that you're going to apply, that you're going to add to the mix to support you in bringing your message forward. Maybe it's getting support. Maybe it's being curious, being open to the information that's coming to you, the same types of questions that people are asking, opportunities you hadn't considered that could help pivot the information or bring it forward or create a dialogue with people who need it most. So write down 1 to 3 things from our conversation today to really help you take those steps and reach the people that you are called to reach with your powerful information. Behind the scenes, I was talking with Beth and Wendy about some of their current projects and upcoming projects, and there's all kinds of things. So I'm excited that they're going to share a little bit about that. But before we get into some of your upcoming projects and things that you're working on, are there any final tips or thoughts that you have based on our conversation today that you wanted to share? And I know, Wendy, we're handing the floor to you. So, Wendy, that you would like to add to the conversation.
I find that, when we were writing the book and asking medical professionals their advice, over and over, we were hearing about how important it is to ask questions. And I just find that that's really true when you're writing a book, when you're going to a doctor's appointment, when you're interacting with your friends, whether it's in person or Zoom. I think being curious and really wanting to know more can just really enhance our lives, I think, in all sorts of ways. So that's something that I'm really focusing on today, is being consistently curious.
I love that. Asking those questions and listening to the information.
Right. Exactly. Excellent point, Rebecca.
Sometimes we just ask. So I love that. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Now, you were sharing a little bit about the video series that you're working on and doing and bringing forward, and where people could go and access that information. So I wanted to just give you an opportunity if you wanted to share a little bit more about that series, and I'd love for you to share again where people can access it.
Absolutely. Thank you. So the name of our video series is The Confident Patient in a New World. And it's really the companion piece, like we mentioned, to the book that we published with you, Rebecca, The Confident Patient. And really, it's been an engaging experience. We reach out to experts just across the country and talk to them about really how healthcare has changed and what people can do going forward. And it's not all healthcare. It's a lot of wellness and health and that type of thing, kind of talking on how people have successfully managed challenges. And it's it's an empowering piece. Each one is between 10 and 20 minutes long. And the best place to find it is on our website, which is www.2health.com, www.2by2health.com. We're also on Facebook at 2by2 Health, and also on YouTube, 2by2 Health.
Perfect. And I know that's a great way for them to reach out and connect with you. They can find your book there in all the different formats as well, which is wonderful. And I know you're working on some additional things that will be coming forward soon. And I'd love for you to share about those as well.
Yeah, that would be a pleasure. So we just recently took part in a project with Pat Rulo, and Pat is the host of the radio show Speak Up and Stay Alive. And she did a book where there were medical experts from across the country. Each group wrote a chapter. And I just love this book. It's called Highway to Heart, Humor, and Honesty in Healthcare. And we were just absolutely honored to be a part of that. That chapter that Beth and I wrote is called We're All in This Together. And it really focuses on the collaboration and the alignment in the healthcare field, and how we're always moving, closer and closer and towards that, and how we can be active partners with our medical team members in that approach.
Beautiful. And I love that you are continuing to be collaborative and be part of additional books and platforms and opportunities to continue to reach people, and building that into all that you're doing. Now, has that book been released yet, or when is it coming out?
Yes, it was just recently released within the last several months.
Oh, great. So people can find that on Amazon. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So more that they can lean into, more resources. I love that. And then anything else that you're working on that we can follow you on, look ahead towards?
Yes, we're also really excited to be active participants in the anthology that you're doing, Rebecca, the experts and leaders and influencers. Our chapter is called Caregiving for Yourself and Others. Finding the confidence to move upward and forward. And we're really excited about that launch coming up this summer.
Oh, beautiful. Well, I'm excited too, and I love the perspective that you bring in that chapter, and that upward and forward is very purposeful in the title that you have to read the chapter to discover. And that book we're going to be bringing forward on July 14th. So for any listeners that like to mark dates on the calendar, when that's brought forward, we will be doing our best-selling launch and offering it at a special introductory rate of $1.99. So for any of you that like a deal and want to lean into that, be one of the first to get it. It will be available on July 14th. And we're just thrilled and honored to have you as one of our or both of us co-authors, as powerful parts of this book and helping people really move forward in a purposeful way. And I think it's so important that we come together and we share our voices, that we unite in our wisdom so that we can collectively support one another, cheer each other on, and share wisdom and insights that we've learned to help us be able to move forward. So I'm just thrilled and honored to have both of you as part of that book, and look forward to it coming forward. It'll be available on Amazon. We'll be posting and sharing out. And I wanted to just bring back our conversation to thank both of you again for spending time with us today, sharing just what the journey's been like, what you've discovered, what surprised you, what you have learned along the way. And I love how you have been able to pivot, keep that momentum going, keep bringing real-time information to people and weaving in the book that you released and continuing to use that powerful content and then weaving in more and more to continue to support people in this dynamic and changing environment. So I love that you've done that. Thank you so much for spending time with us today, sharing your content, sharing your wisdom, sharing your insights. I'd like one more time for you to share your contact information for anyone that missed it. So Wendy, can you share it again?
I'd be delighted to. Thank you, Rebecca. So our website is www.2by2health.com, the number 2xhealth.com. And It's just been such an honor and a privilege to be here today, Rebecca. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. Thank you. And I'm excited to have this information, have this conversation out in the world. And I know it's going to support so many people and listeners. I hope you have found it highly supportive and encouraging, that you have found some of those nuggets that you can explore and bring forward, because nobody else can share your message the way you can. And the more formats that you're able to bring it forward, and the more people that will be able to hear, understand, absorb, and take in your information. So I encourage you on your journey to find a step today to take to bring your message forward. Have an amazing week, everyone, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to The Author's Journey. Please join Rebecca Hall Gruyter for another edition of the Author's Journey podcast every Monday on the Voice America Variety Channel. And until we talk again, use some of the tips and inspiration from today's show to guide you as you lean in to bringing your message forward.